Welcome, everyone. This is your Nurse Advocate Consulting. And Linda and I have the pleasure today of visiting with Sharon Hamburg. And this is a first of a three-part series that as we're getting ready to launch our A Sibling's Guide to Caring for Your Aging Parents course, masterclass, we are going to have a series of 3 videos that we're going to share with everyone to kind of look at the 3 different stages that adult children of aging parents might go through. So the first stage we're going to visit with Sharon about having aging parents, but not having to care for them yet. So kind of in the preparing stages or the what if stages and what we might want to know in order to prepare for them. And then the second video we're going to do with someone who's right in the midst of caring for their aging parents. And then our third video is going to be with someone who has recently lost their aging parent and then maybe looking at what they wish that they might have known prior to that. So I want to, Lynn and I want to welcome Sharon to our video. So let's go ahead and get started. So Sharon, tell me a little bit about your family. You have parents that are in your, say, mid-60s, correct?
Yes, I do. I have parents in their mid-60s.
And then what is your sibling unit look like?
Oh man, well, I am the oldest daughter. I do have an older brother, and then 2 younger sisters and 2 younger brothers.
Yeah, so you have a unique situation because you have 2 sets of parents that you would be in a situation of potentially having to provide care for. So
yeah,
as the oldest daughter in both families, is this something that's crossed your mind at all, like thinking in the future? Have you thought about this at all?
So to be honest, I think it's kind of like one of those things like your 401k, right? Like you feel like you're too young to worry about it, but I do feel like it is something that, I've heard, some friends dealing with lately, like, oh, I got to move in my mother-in-law, so it's definitely something that I've just started to really think about, but it still feels too early to think about it. But I know, again, like your 401k, right? It's never too early to start thinking about stuff like that, to be prepared, because, once something happens, you're never going to feel ready. So I do think I still think it's too early. My parents are really young, but it's, definitely.
How young are your parents, Sharon?
Early 60s. I mean, that's young. So I just, though I feel like it, I think about my aging parents in light of their parents and how old their parents were. And I still, of that, I have a grandma left, right? So you mentioned 2 sets of parents. So really just having 1 grandma left, but I still feel like my grandparents were older, and I don't like to think that, my parents will need my help anytime soon. But
so let me ask you, have any of your parents had any health challenges, that they've had to deal with in the past? Or
yes, my dad's had some health issues. I also feel like too, there's 4 of them, and they're like both sets of parents still have partners, and I feel like everybody's really healthy, and I'm not prepared. We'll just put it that way. I feel unprepared.
So have you had any types of discussions with your parents about this? Like, you go over there for a barbecue, or maybe there was a health scare and you sat down and said, well, have we thought about this? Have you had any types of initial discussions in regards to this at all with any of your parental units?
I mean, not in a serious way, not in a serious way that probably needs to happen. I think it's maybe, jokes. You joke sometimes like, oh, I'll be taking care of you when you're older. So, stuff like that, but not in a serious way. Like, hey, this is probably what's going to happen when it needs to happen. And what's probably more important is talking about it with my siblings as well. Probably lots of assumptions going around that would need to be ironed out. Again, being the oldest daughter, I feel like I'll have help, but will probably take on the majority of the organizing and the caring. But I think it's probably important too to talk to my parents and what are their wishes. Like I'm not sure, you know, that I would do the right thing by them. Maybe they want to be independent. I don't know. I guess there's probably a lot of questions that need to be asked all around.
Mhm.
So Sharon, let me ask you this. So in starting to think about it, what do you feel, what information do you feel that you would need to know, you know, that would start to make you feel prepared or made you feel, you know, comfortable? What things do you think you need to get a handle on?
Well, outside of, you know, understanding what my parents want, I think outside of that is more like, what are some resources that are available? I'm not in any type of medical field, right? So I am a data person. So I feel like a lot that I don't know, and none of my siblings are either, right? So I feel like, not that we would have to provide medical care for our parents, but just what do we need? You know, what resources are out there? What kind of help is there available for us? You know, whether it's a nurse that comes in or just you know, special diets that they may need. I mean, there's just so much that I really don't know.
So with that being said, lots of questions, lots of things that you feel that you would need to know. How do you feel your sibling unit would function together? I mean, do you think that there'll be any challenges in defining roles, or who's going to do what, or who's going to help? I mean, how do you think your sibling unit will fit in with all of this?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, a lot of assumptions. My guess would be that my brothers are assuming me and my sisters would be the ones doing all of it. Not that they aren't married to some great women, but they're great women and will have their own parents too. So I'm guessing that there may be tension. So this is probably something that we all need to talk about now to figure out, because probably lots of assumptions that, you know, we will handle it. They probably won't have much say because they won't, not that they don't care about our parents, but they don't care what choices are made, or like they won't, you know, it's like deciding between two things, like this resource and this resource, they'd be like, oh, I don't care, you pick, right? So I feel like a lot of that would kind of fall on me and my
You know, you
sister.
made a comment earlier in regards to, because you're the oldest daughter, that you felt a lot of the caregiving will fall upon you. Is that something that you, because being the oldest daughter, where because of the roles you've played in your past in regards to your siblings and your parents and other responsibilities, you feel that's why you make that comment?
Yeah, I feel that. And my uh, brothers are more, I don't know, of the old school mentality where I just feel like the caregiving comes from the women. So I do feel like, yeah, that plays a role, and not that they're cavemen, but no, I just do feel like that's, you know, that is the expectation and the assumption.
So let me ask you this. Do you, I mean, in thinking about, you know, the potential role of caring for your aging parents, what can you think of, or have you thought about what kind of roles your brothers can play, so that at least, you know, you feel like they're contributing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess when I think about it, I don't want to have to make all of the decisions, right? That's a lot of pressure. So I feel like that's something that could be shared, and that doesn't have to come from a maternal place, right? So I think that's absolutely something that they can take on, is helping with like making decisions and taking some of the responsibility of like, hey, we need to decide 4 things. You two can decide 2 of them. We can, you know, just really just sharing decision making, I guess, is something that can be, you know, different responsibilities. I mean, if we're talking about a living situation that could have, that maybe that, that doesn't have to be the woman has to be the caretaker. It could be that my brother has the biggest house, or he's got an in-law suite or something like that too, right? Where, some outside factors can also come into play. I guess it's just my thinking that.
So
women
one
have-
other challenge a lot of siblings have is that when siblings are out of town, or live away from their parents, do you think that that might be a factor in your situation?
Yeah, I mean, that can be tricky. I mean, I'd say for, half of the year, both sets of my parents are not near me. And, one set is 4 hours away always. But yeah, and there's neither near either set of parents year round, right? So yeah, I mean, that definitely plays a part, because then there's some uprooting that you think may have to happen when when you get to that stage of needs all around care, or you're making decisions, you feel like you don't have all the right information if you're not close by. So yeah, that absolutely plays into a factor of determining maybe who does the lion's share of the things because of distance.
So let me ask you this, Sharon, if there was a course out there that walked a group of siblings through the decision-making process, what documents should be in place, what kind of things that can be done ahead of time to help make those decisions, looking at the zone of genius or the strengths of the siblings and where they can help, looking at conflict, out of town siblings, and then again looking at identifying needs and resources, and then having a nurse help put all of these things together. Would you see value in a course like that?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Even just like getting the siblings together for just information sharing and laying it all out there and making sure it's just not on one person. I think that all of that would be super valuable, and it helps so much. I think it would help so much with like having a third party that's almost like not your decision maker, but presenting you with like all these great ideas and all of these things that you wouldn't have to find yourself. That takes some tension off of the siblings. Like, well, I thought you were going to find this, or, we've got this one resource that can bring all this stuff together for us. That right there is going to alleviate a lot of tension. You're starting to have these conversations early, so that 20 years down the road, when something like this may be needed, you've got the then you know where to go. How to at least handle it, right? Like, where do you start if you've had some sort of like course or informational thing with all of you together?
And I think you brought up a really great point, and I think that's one of the things too, is third party. I mean, it's when you have a group of siblings that have grown up together, everything about each other. What's hiding in the closet. What they did as a kid. You really have a lot of your roles established as far as how you treat each other and that. And I think I agree that would probably be a benefit to have an outside set of eyes come in and maybe identify some areas with the siblings where they can help, and not that maybe you wouldn't have thought of because you've taken that role on your whole life, and to help and to make sure that caregiving load is evenly distributed. I mean, maybe if someone lives far away, maybe they can't do the hands-on all the time, but maybe there's other tasks that they can do to take off the plate of someone. So that's one of the things that we're hoping, that people will get value out of the course. Linda, was there anything, before I close things up with Sharon, was there anything else that you'd like to ask Sharon?
Yeah, are you a planner, Sharon?
Yes. When it's something I'm excited about. No, so it's funny because in like my friends group, they are they call me the planner, because I'm always like, okay, we're going to do this, and then we're going to get this, and I'm going to arrange this. But I feel like I'm not that way in all aspects of my life. I feel some things
Well,
are.
I think it's because that's your comfort zone, and you're a data person. So because you're a data person, you're very, you're a planner, you're regimented in a certain way. But I think in caring for your parents, because it's a new and very different area, it's not data, it's life, and it's unique, and it's fluid, and it's dynamically changing. I think that could lead to some need for some very structured, or that third party to come in and kind of help guide and provide those resources to assist in that process, because of the type of individual you are.
Yeah, 100%. And also too, just having a third party kind of dole out like responsibilities, like, hey, here are all the things that need to be done. You can do this one, you can do this one, you can do this one. I mean, that would be amazing, right?
So they become the bad guy, huh?
Yeah, well, but yeah, I mean, instead, sometimes people feel like, well, it all falls on me. I'm just going to do it. I'm not even going to ask for help, but then I'm going to secretly resent them anyways. Even if I didn't ask for it. I want to take it all on myself. I want it done the right way. But, that could be the situation in lots of families. So I think having this third party that lays out, all the things that need to be done, and it doesn't need to be one person who does them all. And they don't even have to agree on some of the decisions. Like if a brother doesn't care what certain thing I choose, cool, that's fine. But just as long as you've got your own stuff too, so I think.
Okay.
Awesome. Sharon, I really do appreciate you coming on as someone who has not, been in the shoes of having to provide these types of care and make these decisions. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you'd like to mention as far as what you feel you would need, or is there anything that we didn't talk about that maybe has crossed your mind?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, this whole topic doesn't often cross my mind. So, I mean, everything you brought up was new and things that I need to think about. And again, I just think that having a third party to help kind of pull it all together and assign tasks would be really helpful.
Oh, awesome. Sharon, I want to thank you, for taking some time and just sharing it from your perspective. And I just want to remind everybody, we're going to put the link for the course in the details of the YouTube video. So feel free to check that out. More to come. Again, stay tuned for part 2, where we talk to an adult child of an aging parent who's right now in the thick of caring for their parents. So we'll get, yet another perspective there. So I just want to thank everybody, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.